oh, why do economists get it wrong? That's so harsh. The world's really complicated. The economy is really complicated. John Maynard Keynes once commented that a master economist had to be a mathematician and a historian and a philosopher and all these different qualifications. It's complicated. So there are 7 billion people in the world. There are about 10 billion distinct products and services in a major economy, according to one, I think, reasonably credible estimate. Everybody has their own purchasing decisions, their own motivations. I mean, there are just so many moving parts. So I don't want to excuse every error that economists make, and some of them are embarrassing. But the truth is that the economy is fantastically complicated, and no wonder it constantly surprises us. So there's this idea out there that we're seeing the green shoots and so on. I don't think anybody really knows. If you look at the history of economic forecasts, the reputation of economists is that they all disagree with each other. Actually, when you look at previous forecasts, they all agree with each other, and the only disagreement is reality. So reality always does something different, and all the forecasts cluster. So I don't think we know. One generally expects some degree of rebound after a recession. The real surprise, I think, has been this: the recession has gone on so long, so I hope so. But I'm certainly not going to be caught making forecasts that I can't really justify. I think the view of the economy really matters. It's very important. I just don't think we should be paying too much attention to forecasts. On the specific issue of this famous Reinhardt-Rogoff spreadsheet error, I mean, that's extremely embarrassing for them, but I don't think we should put too much emphasis on that. The Chancellor, George Osborne, has been committed to raising taxes and then a bit later started to cut spending. That's all to do with his concern about the deficit and the national debt. There are good reasons to do that. There are good reasons not to do that. I don't think Reinhardt and Rogoff were the clincher in that argument. They've been cited in support. I don't think they were the reason why George Osborne has been trying to cut spending and raise taxes. But yeah, this stuff really matters. I think the real debate is, what is the spare capacity in the economy? Did the banking crisis permanently destroy wealth and the ability to produce things in the British economy or not? Because if it permanently destroyed things, George Osborne is right. And we should be raising taxes, cutting spending, and getting used to a new, poorer Great Britain. If, on the other hand, the banking crisis was just a sort of temporary but severe blip, there's lots of spare capacity, lots of people who could get back to work, lots of businesses that could be resurrected, and all that's needed is kickstarting it with a bit of government spending. And if that's true, George Osborne is completely wrong. I don't think anybody knows for sure. I vote for the George Osborne is mostly wrong school of thought, but I think that people have been speaking with an undue degree of confidence about this. I think that austerity and stress is potentially an opportunity to discover new things that work. One example I'm going to talk about in my speech today, and this is going to sound a bit odd, but it's the first randomised trial in the world that was done into whether streptomycin, an antibiotic, is effective against tuberculosis. And the key issue here is, one of the reasons why they ran this randomised trial, and it was the first time it had ever been done, is because there was a shortage of streptomycin. Everyone wanted streptomycin. Everybody thought it was a miracle drug and would work. We didn't really know whether it worked. We didn't have enough. And so dishing some of it out at random seemed very fair, and also generated the data necessary to figure out whether this worked or not. Now, you may know that randomised trials are starting to catch on in public policy. There are better tax collection, better criminal justice, better education, so on, running a randomised controlled trial. Well, clearly and sadly, reducing spending, reducing what we had thought of as a standard in public services, gives you an opportunity also to run a randomised trial, because you can axe programs on a randomized basis because there isn't enough money to run them. And then as you're doing that, you can figure out whether the program was actually worth the money in the first place. So I think there are opportunities to adapt, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I do think that the public's appreciation of some basic statistical facts in the UK is really poor, alarmingly poor. There was a recent study conducted by Ipsos Mori and the Royal Statistical Society, and we just have a very, very skewed view of what's going on in the country, of what the major items of government expenditure are. The NHS is a very big one. It's much bigger than interest on the national debt, but people think the national debt repayments are bigger. We have a skewed view of crime. It's been falling for years. Violent crime is down. Crime itself is down by over half since the mid-1990s. People think it's rising. The majority of people think it's rising. People think that 15% of underage girls get pregnant. The true figure is 0.7%. I mean, we think 31% of the population are immigrants. True figure is about 13%. So we have this very, very strange view of our own country because we don't have our fingers on statistics. And I think a lot of that is down to the politicians and the media, but the Office for National Statistics has a role to play. And I think our national statistics are in great shape. I think the way they are presented, the website, is just terrible. Whether you're an expert user or a total amateur, you will not be able to get what you want out of that website, and that's a national embarrassment. And I mean, bless them because they do wonderful, wonderful work, but the website isn't part of it.